Hi everyone, and welcome to the final boss of our TypeScript generic series. Today, I'll show you kind of a trick that you can use where you will be combining mapped types with conditional types in order to perform something that seems to be very easy at first glance, but actually requires more code than you might expect. Again, this is not something you often need in your job, but I think it's a practical use case of both concepts, and I think it's interesting. A quick disclaimer, this is not something that you would naturally reach as a solution if you were to think about the problem, or at least unless you're like extremely smart and you're a genius. I personally haven't created it myself. This is more of the type of concept you just see and you understand rather than create yourself, right? So keep that in mind as you watch the video. Let's start simply. Let's explain what we aim to do. We want to create a generic type that extracts only the numeric keys of some other types. So let's imagine that we have a type called product, and it has some properties inside. Let's say title string. It has a price number. Let's say it has, what else? I want to have more properties. Maybe in stock, which is going to be Boolean. It's either in stock or not. Boolean. Oops, I forgot the equal sign though. Okay. And let's do one more. Let's do rating, which is going to be a number. That seems solid. And we can have more types like this. And then we want to make a separate type that only extracts the keys from whatever we pass in, either like product or employee or whatever it is, only the numeric keys. So for example, if we write this complex thing that we're about to write and we plug in product, we expect to see as a result price and rating, right? Because these are the two numeric keys. If we had, let's say, an employee with multiple properties, but if the employee has two numeric properties, let's say that they are, I don't know, age and salary, that's what we expect to see as a result, right? And this should be applicable to any type that we pass in. We pass in the type and we somehow get out only the numeric keys. This sounds kind of easy, but it's not that easy. Let's see how we can work it out. So again, in this part of the code, I'll firstly lay out the solution and then explain it. Again, there is no logical way to reach it yourself unless you're very experienced with TypeScript. So I'd rather write it down first and then explain it step by step, right? So just bear with me for a bit. I'm going to create a new type. I'm going to call it numeric properties, which is going to take in some T type, right? It could be a product type. It could be, the employee type that I gave as an example, or whatever else you can think of. And then what is it going to return? How is it going to work? So firstly, I'll apply something that you've already seen, hopefully, in my mapped types video. In case you haven't visited that one yet, I suggest that you go back to that. But I'm going to use the iterator, and I'm going to iterate through every key, K, in the keys of T. For example, if product is T, then I'm iterating over every key of product. And I'm going to now use a conditional type, and I'm going to say the following. If the corresponding type for this key, for example, if the key is title, if the corresponding type is string in this case, or for price, it's number, whatever. If the corresponding type extends number, which basically means that it is number, then I want to return specifically the key, not the whole thing, just the key. I know it doesn't make sense now. That's all right. I'll explain it in a bit. Or otherwise, I want to return never. Wow, now it got even stranger, right? What the heck is this? We'll analyze it word by word, so don't worry at all about this. So here's how this thing works. So now I'm giving you the how. Later on, I'll give you the why. But let's start with the how. How does it work? Firstly, what is key of T? Let's imagine that we're using this on the product type, right? So we can say type products keys, numeric keys This will not work yet. I'm just writing it down so that you can understand it. Let's say that we're going to pass products. Actually, no, sorry. This should be equals numeric properties of product. Again, this is just basic work with generics that I've shown in earlier examples, so I'm not going to explain it in detail, but my whole idea is that I'm passing product as my T. And if I'm passing product as my T, let's see what the result will be. What are the keys of T? Meaning, so let me just write it down. T is my product in this case. What are the keys of T? Well, these are title, price, in stock, and rating. All right, so far so good. So I'm just saying iterate over each of the keys. So we're basically laying out all of the keys. And now for each of these keys, what do we want to do? Firstly, we want to check the corresponding type. This means go to T, go to product, and find the corresponding type of T. So of the key, sorry, not of T. So if the key is title, what is the corresponding type? It's string. When the key is price, the corresponding type is number. When the key is in stock, the corresponding type is Boolean. And when the key is rating, the corresponding type is number, right? All right, that's what we did here. And now I'm asking, for each of these keys, does the type extend number? Does this extend number? No, this is a totally different type. Does this extend number? Yes, they're basically the same thing, so yes. Does this extend number? No, this is a different type. Does this extend number? Yes, it does. And now here's what we're saying for each of these. We're saying, if it extends number, I want you to keep the key name itself. If not, I want you to keep never. I know this seems weird, but you see why it works later. Now, for a string, we saw that it's a different type, so we return never. This is numeric, so we'll just keep the key name, right? We just keep price. Here, it will be a never. And here, it will be just the key name, which is rating, right? So again, we are checking the corresponding types. If the corresponding type in the original product is numeric, we'll keep in our result the name of that key. Otherwise, we'll keep never. That's what I said here in this portion with the conditional statements. So basically, what did we just create inside of this type? We're keeping all of the keys, right? So we have title, we have price, we have in stock, and we have rating. But the corresponding types are now different. We just changed them. So these are the corresponding types. So title now has a type of never. Price has a type of price, which might seem weird, but keep in mind that in TypeScript we support literal types, so that's completely fine. In stock is also never, and rating is rating. Why did I do this? This is so weird, right? It looks meaningless. Why did I create this? Well, you see it now. Let me just copy this in my IDE so that we can have it stored there. So for now, what we have is the following. We have a type which has title of type never. It also have a price of type price. It has an in stock of type never and a rating of type rating. How come? What is that? There is one last step to fixing this. So if you take a look now, on the right, we have kind of filtered out only the numeric keys, right? What are the numeric keys in product? These are price and rating. And here on the right, we kind of have them, and the rest are just nevers. So if we have a way out of this whole structure to only now take the types and remove the nevers, we will have successfully completed our task to only filter the numeric keys. So first step, as I mentioned, is out of this whole structure, we want to take the corresponding types. This we can do with the following syntax. We write square brackets and we write key of T. So this basically means for each of the keys, we're taking the corresponding type, right? These are our keys, the keys of T, right? We're taking the corresponding types. So now this full expression that I wrote, we return the following. It will return never, price, never, or at least it seems so. It will actually be even better than what you imagine right now. But at first glance, it seems like it's going to be this, right? And we have almost achieved our mission. The cool thing is, TypeScript is smart enough to recognize that never basically means that there is nothing. There is no valid type there. So it's going to ignore it. The cool thing is we don't have to remove the nevers ourselves. TypeScript does it for us. Meaning that in this case, we have successfully filtered only the names of the numeric keys, which was our goal from the start itself. Very wild, isn't it? It's kind of crazy, but it's interesting. I think that's the beauty of programming. Sometimes you just stare at a piece of code which looks so weird and encrypted and you have no idea what's going on, and slowly you start to decipher it and understand how it leads to the end result. So this is what this code will produce, and it will work for any type that we pass in. In the case of product, it will return this final result, right? So if I hover here, I can see that the numeric keys of product are price and rating. But if I were to now create a different type, let's say type employee, because I gave it as an example before. And let's say they have an ID number, name, string, salary number. Look at what I can do now. I can create a new type for the employee. I can say employee numeric keys, and this will equal, I'm going to use the same generic, I'm just going to pass the employee this time. And when I hover over this, I immediately see the numeric keys of employee, which is so cool, isn't it? We write it once, yes, it's kind of complicated, it's short, but it's very dense. But once you understand how it works, it gets better. So just to recap this complicated portion, we go over each key of our original type. For each key, we check its original type. If it's a number, we return the key itself because we want to keep the name of the numeric keys. If not, we return never. Then we have a similar structure to this one. And because we only care about the types in this case, we use key of t, which means that we're going through every key and we're taking the corresponding type. So through this, we filter only the types, and TypeScript is smart enough to destroy the nevers, which leaves us with the names of the original numeric keys of our type, product or employee or whatever else we have chosen. All right, that was everything for this tutorial. I'm not going to torture you anymore. Again, this is very advanced. It's rare to see in real projects. This is just for, the nerdy people out there who want to challenge themselves with something more interesting. It's certainly useful to develop your thinking and understanding of JavaScript and TypeScript more than it would be useful in real life projects, but sometimes developing your thinking is actually one of the most important things to do. So that's why I suggest and recommend doing such interesting experiments. So that was everything. If you have any questions, which I'd assume you might have, feel free to share them in the comments. And that was everything for this tutorial and this series.